can't possibly script something like this.
Lifeline.
Join us on a daily live adventure into the heart of the African wild right here on WildEarth.
Those sounds just go straight through you.
Expert guides search for the captivating animal characters of Africa.
Baby pangolin, guys, he's off the charts. This is like now my 4th Christmas in a week. We should do this more often.
You can ask us questions in real time using #WildEarth on Twitter. Join us for 2 live shows every single day only on WildEarth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome to the dawn. Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi sands, where we have successfully gone out and found the Ngala Pride. Hello everybody, there's one of Origino's young boys. And we've got at least 2 males and 5, maybe 6 females of the Ngala Pride. They came onto the property last night. What a splendid way to start the day. Hello everybody, my name is Steve, joined by Morgan on camera, and well, it was quite an interesting way to start. Don't forget we do have questions, and please send them through. Questions, comments, #WildEarth, or throw them in on the YouTube chat stream. But our males are being a little bit feisty. We first found the Pride, and they were... Hello everybody, you are with us live in Djuma. It's a wonderful morning, it's overcast, and there's a little bit of action happening here with our lions. I think 1 or 2 of these females might be in estrus because the boys are being a little bit frisky with each other, and there's a little bit of sniffing going on. We're not far from our western boundary. We came to try find their tracks. And we moved into the area where we heard they were probably coming to last night, and I was looking on the road in a very sort of familiar area for tracks, and Morgan and I were chatting about how far they might have moved when Morgan went, there they are. So it was one of the easier mornings of tracking, thankfully. But they've definitely eaten something. They ate something not so long ago. Their faces are still quite dirty. But you see how this male is trying to take a little bit of preference for that young female there. And he's going to follow her. It's possible that the females are coming into estrus, the youngsters specifically. And both males are going to compete with each other for the right to mate. We've still got one of our youngsters over here who hasn't yet attracted the attention. She's probably quite thankful. But they are still hungry. No doubt having 2 big males following you around doesn't mean you get too much to eat when it comes to an impala. And it's a little bit windy and overcast. These are still ideal conditions for the lions to hunt. So we're going to stay with the Pride and see what they get up to.
A very good and early morning from andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. We've just found 2 cheetah with 2 cubs that we saw yesterday, and they are just settling down for a little bit. They moved a little bit from where we saw them yesterday. My name is Djuma, and behind the camera we've got Gerrit. and we hopefully have quite a few animals in store for you this morning. We are going to be staying with these cheetahs for a little bit, but we can hear some monkeys' alarm calling in the distance, and we just got an update of some lions in the area as well. So hopefully we can get a view of all these animals. So these cheetahs have been sleeping and spending time in this open clearing here. Nice and open for them to keep an eye out for other predators. They feel nice and safe. And I think you can see the mother there in the middle is just sitting up and looking around. She's actually looking in the direction of where those monkeys are alarm calling, but I'm sure if there's some impalas or so that come into the area, she's going to be very, very keen to feed her cubs and herself. But for now, I think Gerrit and I are going to stick around and see what these cheetahs get up to, and maybe go have a look at what those monkeys are alarm calling at.
Good morning and a very warm welcome to you in the Maasai Mara of Kenya. We have a lioness that is, I think, wanting to hunt. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. Very nice weather, about 16 degrees Celsius, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Very nice. This lioness has positioned herself strategically. The water seems like it just failed a hand. Look at her hind legs. She's covered in mud. Look at how she's panting. Looks like she's super tired. Now I was driving to go find Bahati's mom, but then I saw some toppies looking very curious and some hartebeest. So scanning through the long grass, I happened to see this lioness, and she is Bahati's mom's sister. She's one of the lionesses from the Leopard Pride. Look at where she just positioned herself. This is a strategic area where there's water, and animals coming to drink here might fall prey to her. So she walked up here, drank a little bit of water, and now she's resting. A little bit of her facial clean. Whatever she might have gone for went through the mud. As you can see, both her feet, hind leg rather, are covered in mud, and the front leg as well. So she has to wait until she regains her energy back so that she can go out and maybe try to hunt. She's scanning the area. Just wanted to listen on how she's panting. Sometimes lionesses will hunt in a pride, sometimes they'll be loners, they'll hunt by themselves. She's a fully grown, very experienced, and I'm sure she can pull down a zebra, Thompson gazelle, wildebeest. But if it's a big prey, like buffaloes or even giraffe, lions have to work in a team. Oh, she's super tired. What a nice find. It's good to wake up in such a sighting, but I hope she might be on the move soon as I take you over to another live location.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve, to your live safari from the African wilderness. It's quite a beautiful, cloudy this morning, so it's showing the beauty of the wild. It's got to be active for us. And my name is Andrew on camera at Theo this morning. So remember to talk to us on quiz questions at TV, and also hashtag WildEarth at FC. This is how we're going to be interactive with you guys, and communication is going to be taking on from there. We would love to hear from you. And we come to this very beautiful waterhole this morning, where it looks like one bull hippo still in this waterhole. He's probably just arrived before light take place. I believe he's probably was out there grazing for the whole night. So in this kind of a morning like this, where today is 20 degrees Celsius and 68 Fahrenheit. That's the temperature for today. And it's cloudy, it's not yet hot. But I'm sure it's going to be slightly warmer during the course of the day. But people do their best of being in the water for their own safety. Not only safe from the predators, but safe from the sun, or of course not much of a sun. He should be fine when he even get out now in this kind of weather, but he has to be in the water for sure. They mean to be in the water whole time. And this could be he's a stiff, as he mentioned the other day. He didn't want to name him Sticks, but yeah, this is the one that he has a stick on his top of the roof of the mouth. It was stuck in there. Probably heard me saying that right now. It's like, oh, how did he know? Good morning, Zron. I think I had your name well there. So what happened, humans are more scary to most all animals. So we are most dangerous to all animals, individual, even birds of whatever. So humans are the single image where everybody, especially animals, when they look at human, they looking at a very serious enemy. So, and that's why they're all scared of humans. Sometimes you see behavior of, hippo charge or lion charge. So it's not actually that they actually capable of doing that. It's their own defense. If you're in an environment where they are and they don't know what to do, of course there is a charge take place in there. So this is what is happening right now. So we are men key out here. We are the one that we are so much problem. Even though we don't hunt them, they don't know that. All they know, we are dangerous to them. So that's us. Have to treat them well, even though they don't understand us, but I'm sure eventually they will be. So I'm going to carry on, look around in southern boundary, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to be taking you to another safari guide who will be continue showing you the beauty of the African wilderness.
Well, Jumbo, and another wonderful morning. Welcome to Masai Mara, the Mara Triangle. And here I have a spotted hyena who has found comfort in the middle of the road. So we call it. It is the spotted hyena, the most successful predator here in the plains. Jumbo, everyone. My name is Isaac, and on camera we have Bungay. And this morning our main mission is to find some cats and maybe some wildebeest, and then maybe visit the river. Those are my three missions this morning. But to start with, I've come across this beautiful young male hyena who is not very far from their den and has made the middle of the road a comfortable spot. I don't know if he knows how dangerous roads are, but here animals have got all the right of way, and I think he knows that. You see how he's crouched, sleeping and lying on all fours. it's to keep them warm. Very much like a dog or a cat, they do that. So he's keeping warm. I had to stop to give him a little bit more time to rest before there is traffic to wake him up. Of course, he will wake up once there's a vehicle, but that is a very comfortable spot where he's been lying, and I'm sure it's warm, and he would rather keep it for as long as he wants. This is the Olololo clan, and they hang around this area. Their den is not far. There were quite a few, there were 4 of them, but some of them left, so I'm left with this lone one. The spotted hyena is the most successful predator here in the Masai Mara. All right, I think I will have to continue on, and let's find out what's happening in another live location.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, the cubs have arrived, and there's a greeting ceremony taking place. I just position myself for you here, and hopefully we get a little bit of action. Here they are. Everybody's back. Just have to keep my radio on. Obviously, this is something everybody wants to see, so... They've missed each other for a few hours, and look at the love.
Are there any Buffalo Souk vehicles responding to those informers on WildEarth? I don't think so. We were there last night. We're not going to respond. Okay, copy that. Then I would like to respond and just go and have a quick meeting if possible.
So cute, everybody. So that's why the females got up. When we first got to them, they were lying down, and then one female contact called, and then 2 of them got up and walked very deliberately towards the west. And it's obviously they were trying to connect with the cubs, because now they're all together again. And now I think they'll probably stay on Djuma, which is good. I thought there was a general westerly direction. But hello, youngsters. I'm so happy to see them, Kumas. My day is made. I've been hoping to find these lions for some time now. And, well, Morgan and I really worked hard this morning to find them. We got out a bit earlier to see if we could find the tracks. Still haven't seen a track, though, but we've got a whole herd or pride of lions here, which is very, very cool, in my opinion. Very, very cool. And all that contact calling that's going on. There's definitely 1, maybe 2 females in the pride that are on estrus. That's causing the big boys to be a little bit aggressive with each other, namely Mohawk dominating Blondie so far, what we saw. Stand by 1 second, everybody. Yeah, Mike, you can go north from there. Let's just move up. Let's get ourselves another view. Even if you see the adults that return, that have been with the cubs, they're also quite sort of greeting with the sisters of the pride. It is always very special to see. They might have missed each other for an hour, 3 hours a day, and they just reaffirm those bonds with lots of vocal sounds and rubbing and touching. Very tactile animals, very, very tactile. And what's very likely, off to my left, you can't see it at the moment, it's behind the bushes, is Mohawk with one of the younger females. They're probably going to split off as the pride moves in search of food. The mating pair starts to sort of relax a bit into sort of the courtship routine that is so typical of lions.
and good morning, everybody, to andBeyond and Ngala. Sorry, I'm trying to listen here. If you can hear that as well. We managed to find 2 of the young Birmingham males. Good morning, everybody. Hi, my name is Dan, and on the camera we've got OD this morning. Lovely, cool morning. We've headed back to the area where we left the Birmingham Pride last night, and with them not having eaten in the past couple of days, I'm really hoping to see if we can find them maybe on a carcass this morning. As we were driving, we heard these 2 calling. They softly contact calling to try and see if they can find the rest of the Pride. It seems they have been separated, though. So I'm going to stop here and listen. Let's see if maybe the rest of the Pride don't come through and come and rejoin. Let's just see if we can... It's certainly not a full roar. I think these 2 young males they must have been separated at some point. They're not the most... They're not the most amazing hunters, and you'll see they'll often blow mom's chances. Quite amazing. Even that low, soft call will travel a long way. And if the other Pride members are looking for them as well, they will respond. And that's why you see how his head's constantly turning. You'll often see him shift his body position as well. Roar in different areas, focus on different directions, and then poke those ears out, listen to see if there's a reply. Maybe a response saying that the Pride is somewhere in there. They're also looking for these 2. However, I don't think they'll do so until they're really needed. You can see he's a young male. Look at that mane underneath his head starting to grow. It's quite an amazing noise. Very different to that loud roar that we heard a few nights ago. Brother just biting a tree. Wonder what that's all about. Breaking a stick. Still behaving like a cub. Maybe that's one of the reasons that Mom and the rest of the females decided to leave them here. Taking serious entertainment out of that broken, dry stick. Now he's got some dry stick in his mouth. Also stopping every now and then. I want to listen to try and see if I can hear a reply. Try and get a direction as to where the rest of the Pride may be. It seemed like it was a little bit of more effort there. Does that contact call contain frequencies we can't hear? It certainly does. I mean, particularly the vibrations. Maybe frequencies that we can't hear, but we can certainly feel them. And even from here, you can feel that. There's almost like a vibration through the ground. But I think on the bigger picture, we can hear most of what that lion is trying to communicate. I obviously can't understand it properly, but just judging by the tone and the volume, they're looking for the rest of the Pride. And watch how his head is constantly turning in those ears. And now, they are in search of the rest of the Pride. And I think they would be very grateful if there was food on the other side. both of them calling and calling and calling. Facing different directions, trying to see if they can get a reply from whichever side. How much effort does that take? Even for such a soft one, you see how his whole body moves into it. Shifting around, listening from a different direction. He's also put his head into the wind there. The sound will obviously travel further when it's being brought by the wind. See how pink his nose is as well, and those spots at the back leg. He's still a young lion. So I'm going to spend a bit more time here listening to these two and trying to see if we can hear the rest of the pride that might be calling back. Also listen out for alarm calls.
So Parrot and I went to go have a look at what those monkeys were long calling, and we just found one monkey sitting high up in a tree. So I'm not sure what he was long calling to. We didn't see any fresh tracks of anything around there. But we've found these cheetahs again. They haven't moved one bit except for one of the youngsters that have moved over. But have a look at this female's face. So yesterday we were saying that she's got a few features that we can look for that will help us identify this female. If you have a look at her, she's actually facing this way. It's quite beautiful. She's got like a bit of a blackish coloration. Look of a blackish coloration on her nose there, just above her nose. And that's one of her identifying features. So definitely the same cheetahs we saw yesterday. Obviously they are just a couple of 100 meters away from where we found them yesterday or last night. We left them. So she's pretty easy to identify in that way. There's quite a lot of birds starting to wake up. But you can see where she's lying now. In this general area, she is a bit on her rise. And she can lie flat and look around her like that. And I'm sure she's just waiting to see if there's anything that comes in this direction. Nice and cool still. I'm falling asleep a bit. Just opening eyes every now and then. So let's have a look at her paws there. She's lying with her feet straight towards us there. So I don't know if you've ever heard of how cheetahs are the only big cats in Africa that can't retract their claws all the way. And you can see the female's claws actually sticking out a little bit. She's starting to groom herself a bit. So those claws are just sticking out a little bit. So they are like semi-retractable. They can push them out a little bit further and pull them in a little bit. But they act like that because it's basically like spikes that a sprinter has. So when this female reaches a full speed, it gives her some grip to also run a bit fast also. But her starting to groom herself a little bit. You can see her licking the lips off. We'll see if there's a bit of yawning also happening. Might mean that she's looking to get a move on. They haven't eaten anything recently. So I think Fat and I are going to stick around and hopefully they do start to get a move on.
Well, what a splendid start to the day. Very excited. There's a little bit of suckling going on. Poor little Chella, who had the youngest of the cubs, is obviously still producing milk. And all of these youngsters are wanting a piece of that. So The competition for her belly is rife. But we're just going to do one segment, everybody, and then we're going to move out, make some space, but we will come back. One of the other Djuma guides is coming through. We'll just make some space for them. And they'll all probably get tired of the lions and go off in search of something else, and we'll just do a big loop, have some coffee, I suppose, and then come back. How does that sound? Because it's a nice, cool morning. It's still overcast. You never know. Something might happen. I thought the lions were going to be on the move for real. But what we realized is it was obviously the contact calls between the lionesses with the cubs and these lionesses would cause them to move off at the pace that they did. But there's still action to be had. Cubs are a little bit playful. Males are competing for the right to mate. And we've got a whole pride of lions who are looking a little bit hungry. So you never know what could play out today, everybody. Absolutely anything. Hello, Lauren. Normally, lionesses come into estrus for the first time around the age of 4. It's possible it could be slightly earlier, but normally closer to 4, maybe 3.5. And all the young Ngumas, or Akuma lionesses, are all at that age now, so estrus is setting in. I believe one of the males was mating with one of the females last time when I left here, just before I got here, and I didn't see who it was. But definitely one of the youngsters has caught the interest of the boys this morning and causing them to have a little bit of an argument.
Steve coming, are you on with those Ngala at the moment?
Making space for fans shortly. You're on standby 1.
Okay, copy, yeah. Quite a while, probably about 15 minutes before I get there. So, sort of.
Copy that, Jan. I'll be leaving it with Aubrey in a few minutes, but I'll update. Okay, so we're going to be making some space. There's 2 other vehicles that are interested, but we'll just put ourselves directly in the lineup so that we can come right back to catch all of the action.
Welcome back to the Mara. We've not left this sighting here. Looks like this lion has changed position and she's still scanning the area for game. And if you locate something, she might head that direction. There's a big elephant bull walking far off in the distance, but that does not really bother her. At the waterholes, especially during the dry season, you find that lions will prefer getting too close because they know when animals come to drink, they get an advantage. Look at that massive bull. One tusk. By the look of it, I can see that he's in mask. I'm not ready to get too close to see, but there's another big bull that is, I think he's going to join him. Normally when I see such big bulls, I always know that there must be other bulls with him because they don't walk alone sometimes. You see them being followed by other younger bulls, which we call them askaris. Askari is Swahili for guard. So the younger bulls that always follow these large or big bulls always follow because they want to learn from him, and actually through the passage of life they get so much from these older mature bulls. So our lion is still here, and I'm going to wait to see what she's up to, because definitely after she regains back her energy, she will be on the move. Because she's still panting, but it's reduced, not as heavy like we found her. Excuse me. Shirley, thank you so much for your question. The reason why I'm not in danger is because I'm in a safari vehicle. So, even though I'm too close to this lamb, she can't really see myself and our cameraman, Big James, because they can only see this structure. If there's too much of movement, if we keep on shouting, that's why I've reduced, or my voice is low, because I don't want to actually disrupt her. But these lions are habituated to vehicles from when they were cubs. Their mothers used to walk them around the tourist vehicle or the safari vehicles that drive through this ecosystem. So I'm not in danger at all. Because when you want to tell if I might be in danger or the lion might be in danger, the lion will not be this comfortable. Look at her, she's relaxed. She's not even minding our presence here. She's facing the other direction. So meaning that she's quite happy and just scanning of what will become her meal. I'm still going to sit here and wait to see what this lion will do as I take you over to another live location.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, one of the males has got up and he's actually walked right towards us, and he's plonked himself right next to us over here. He's still contact calling, listening, with no real response. I thought I heard lions a bit further east of where we are here, but they didn't respond much to it at all. So it made me doubt myself. Wonder if he's not watching maybe some impalas or something on the further side. I can't see what he's looking at. Something has certainly got his attention for the meantime. Have a look at those scars on his nose. He's a young lion, just over 2 years old. He hasn't really been fighting for territories at all. But that'll be around a carcass. And maybe his brothers, even his mom and the other females in the pride. If he starts pushing his weight around, and he's big and strong already, he'll get a good smack. Often to the face, as you can see. And I mean, those scars on his nose and his face are going to get way worse in the next few years as he starts to grow and develop and start looking for a territory of his own. It's quite amazing, though. Yesterday we were here and there were wildebeest around here. This is a perfect place for the wildebeest and impalas to be sleeping. So I think they might be getting the odd attention of a wildebeest and maybe some impala that are moving around here. But they're not necessarily hunting. They are maybe waiting for something to run into them. They're still very much learning from mom, and they haven't got too much time left. They need to learn incredibly quickly. And when they move by themselves, when they become nomadic at around the age of 3 or 4, they will have to feed themselves. Rachel, are they too young to still be by themselves? Not always. In this situation, yes. These do look like 2 young males from the Birmingham Pride, and they are most certainly still with the Pride. They haven't been kicked out since last night. I think they've just been temporarily separated. And you will sometimes find young male lions at this age moving around by themselves particularly if there's a new changeover with males. However, in this situation, they aren't by themselves, and they are maybe a little bit too young to be by themselves. They're going to spend as much time as they possibly can with the Pride. The longer they can have mom hunt for them and that they can be getting food from her and the rest of the Pride, the bigger and stronger they're going to get, and that's going to give them the best advantage when they do eventually go by themselves. That young Birmingham male, their kind of step-brother, who's about just over 4, he hasn't even left this Pride yet. It'd be amazing to see if he's waiting for these younger males to get bigger and stronger to form his own coalition with them. Now he's kind of like watching us, hoping that we're going to tell him where everybody else is, but unfortunately I don't know where everybody else is at the moment. And I think one of our best chances at finding the rest of the Pride this morning is actually to hang around with these two. Their hearing is much better than mine, and if they do hear another lion calling, they'll hear it far better than I can, and if they want to get there, they'll get up and take us straight towards everybody else. Isn't he beautiful? You can see the different colors on his face when you zoom in like that. The whites, the caramels, the black dots in his whiskers. And that mane that's starting to grow. Super proud of it, I'm sure. And you can see how the hair's all growing down. You'll see he'll lick and clean, almost combing it in a downly direction. Those colors are amazing. The caramels and the whites and the darks. The hair on the inside of his ear is also starting to grow. You'll see the hair will grow incredibly around his ear in the next few years. Forming this protection around his head. Those scars on his nose. Darcy Ann, what age will these lions get the adult type of roar? I mean, this isn't far from an adult type of roar. You will see the males and females will often call softly like this to try and locate everybody else. He's not quite big enough and strong enough to really have that full-blown male roar, which might only come at around 6 or 7 years old when he is big enough and strong enough to have his own territory. But he's working on it. You can hear he's working on it, warming up those vocal cords. And when he gets bigger and when he gets stronger, he will get that big, strong, powerful roar. He can, though, if he really wanted to belt it out, he'd be able to roar incredibly loudly. But by doing so, he brings a lot of attention towards himself, which at a young age like this, he's quite vulnerable and he doesn't really want to do, particularly if there are other lions close by. Without the protection of the Pride and his fathers, the Ross males, he's incredibly vulnerable. And he would actually spend a lot of his time running away. You can hear his brother calling in the distance there as well. So as I said, I think the best chance at us finding the rest of the Pride is to actually spend a bit more time here. They are certainly looking for everybody else, so I am going to spend a bit more time here, and in the meantime I'll send you to another live location.
Well, we have found the wildebeest, And here they are still on the move. This is what they're best known for, and they are actually on the move. They're heading north. It's not very many, but it's a very good number, doing the migration. Remember, they slightly prolonged their stay here. We're not complaining, and looks like they're headed to the north, which means they're going to stay a little bit longer. This is the white-bearded gnu, an animal that outnumbers everybody else. It's a grazer, and here in the Mara, we depend on them to actually do the lawn mowing or eating the grass. Usually after the rains in June, we have about 4 feet of grass everywhere, and without them, to see the small antelopes would be impossible. So we normally wait for them in the months of July, August, and September to do their job, and they have done it really, really well. You can see the grass is quite low, but they still have to do a little bit more. So I think that's why they're still here doing that. They do normally crisscross the river, but also roam the plains everywhere in the Mara. Okay, here we have a hyena. He might be from either the North Clan, because we're in the North Clan area. Looks like a young male. I don't know where the rest are, but he's the only one. Looks like he's sniffing for something. Maybe he can smell there was a lion or another member of his clan. The spotted hyena is the most successful predator that we have here in the Mara. Actually, it's one of my favorite animals. Yeah, it's smelling the grass. Normally, to scent mark, they'll use their anal glands and leave a paste on some grass, and that grass leaves a lot of message, a lot of, it's a whole email or a text, if I put it in a human form. So it tells him a lot. You could tell he was smelling the grass there. It could be that one of the clan members passed by here and also was lost, and he pasted to say, I'm heading this way. So this young male is still continuing to look a little bit submissive to me, maybe not used to vehicles. The spotted hyena have got the strongest jaws of all predators, especially in Africa. Okay, back to the road. And yeah, the zebra, wildebeest. Can you hear them calling? I'll just stay quiet a little bit so you can hear them calling. Yeah, that's them calling. That is the kind of call they make, and that is the youngsters calling for their moms, and also for males in search of females. Yeah, you can tell that here there is confused movement. Some of them are moving right, and some of them are moving left. It is typical and very hard sometimes to understand wildebeest, because the 1 minute they'll be walking one direction and then another minute they'll be walking in a different direction. They're always and constantly on the move, making very little time for rest, maybe for a couple of hours. They need water every day, so they have to be very close to where there's water. But luckily, there is water in many places here. Some, man-made holes, and also streams and rivers. So there is plenty of water for them. Although, they are meant, to be staying here for such a very short time. This year they have prolonged their stay, and I'm really, really happy, because it means all the predators will be happy, and now you can say that, they stay longer in the Masai Mara. Our hyena is still here. I don't know what he's looking. Maybe he has located the area where the rest of the clan are, and so now it's a matter of actually pinpointing the exact spot. They might look cowardly, but I tell you, this is a predator that is feared by very many here in the plains. You know, it can never go hungry. It can go for a toppy, it can go for a Thompson gazelle, or, you know, any other antelope. And I think I'm gonna move on so I can let it do its own business. And while I do that, let's take you to another live location.
Very peaceful morning here around Leopard Dam with a baboon just it's alone. I don't know why this baboon is alone. Maybe there are others around, but we haven't seen any yet. It's probably just keeping himself safe in case there's a leopard about the area. That's actually why we're here, because we're hoping to find maybe Pixie Pan or one of her youngsters. We've seen some tracks and signs yesterday. Hopefully, they'll pop out some point today. Hi everyone, my name is Mike. Behind the camera is Seb, and you've joined us at Eco Training's Pridelands Conservancy. And as I said, we're here at Leopard Dam because it's nice and cool and quiet. It's very cloudy. It was very windy last night, so we just thought maybe it's perfect opportunities for predators to hunt. We've actually seen a couple of animals alone this morning, this baboon and an impala a bit earlier. So maybe during the night there's been some activity of predators about, disturbing the prey animals and all the herbivores. A very, very peaceful morning. Just watching this baboon practice his yoga poses whilst we sit quietly and listen. The buffalo weavers are making noise. The village and lesser mast weavers are all making noise, very active. The geese and their goslings are in the middle of the waterhole, as always, staying safe from the banks where there might be little predators to hunt them. Now, this baboon might help us or hinder us. It depends. If there is a leopard somewhere nearby, this baboon will almost certainly make a lot of noise to let us know that it has seen it. Well, it won't be letting us know, but it will just be letting its friends and the leopard know that it has spotted danger. And if there are more baboons around, it will hinder us because the leopard will stay very well hidden, especially if she's got youngsters. It's not a very small baboon, it's a fairly decent-sized baboon. It's not fully grown, but it's getting there. And if there's a group of them, they can cause a real problem for leopard youngsters. They will catch and kill them if they can, not necessarily for food, but just for the fact that young leopard will grow into a big leopard, and that can be a real problem for the young baboons. The dawn chorus is in full swing. Because it's so cloudy today, it hasn't gotten light very quickly, so there's lots of birds making noise. Oh, what has that baboon seen? Just cocked his head to the side there. I actually think it was looking at the geese that are moving about. A lot of small birds coming to the water's edge early before all the predatory birds are active, trying to get a bit of a drink. I wonder what happened to this baboon. It looks very nervous. You see how it's looking around quite a lot. We actually saw it. The reason why I noticed it is because it was walking towards the tree very quickly. It scampered up there and has just been sitting there scanning around. I think it's lost the rest of its troop. So we'll do a bit of a drive around in a moment and see if we can find the rest of them.
Welcome back, and we're still sitting here, and these lions are still softly contact calling. Look at the interest on this male's head. He keeps turning around, and they keep shuffling their positions, trying to see if they can pinpoint any form of calling that's coming around. So it's also got a very prominent, slightly different scarring to the one that we were on earlier. He's got quite a prominent one just below his left eye. These are all good indicators for us to use to try and identify them as well. very prominent scar. And although there's not much sun this morning, the lighting's actually quite beautiful, particularly on these lions. There's a whole array of colors if you look very carefully at them. There's the other brother. They seem to be facing in a similar direction now. This one's just kind of shifted around. They were facing in completely different directions, giving themselves the best chance at picking up any other noise that's coming around. Still calling and calling, eh? How's that sitting position as well? Front paws and legs going forward, back legs up. So soft. It's almost quite a sad call, actually. Leopard lover, do all male lions' manes grow at the same pace? The answer is no. And one of the reasons is, firstly, genetics. If these lions had male or fathers who had big manes, they've got a good chance at having big manes themselves. Interestingly as well, I mean, in that nomadic period where they do get chased away, depending on how good they are at hunting and how successful those years are, that'll also determine how big their manes are. If they spend a lot of time like picking up scraps and not eating nearly as well as they could, you'll probably find that their manes won't be as big as they can be. But if they do eat really well, they will use a lot of their excess energy to develop their manes, in which case they will have a much bigger mane. So lions that do incredibly well in their nomadic periods tend to have bigger manes because of that excess energy that they put into growing their mane. I mean, genetics will also determine color, and you'll see lots of lions with very dark manes. So in certain regions, you'll find lions with really dark manes. Lions from the Kalahari are often quite a lot bigger, with much darker manes. And that'll also be a sign of dominance. You can see these lions have still got very tawny coloured or light coloured manes. As they start to grow and develop all the way around their heads, they will start to get darker, particularly around the edges. And depending on which of the Ross males is in fact the father of these cubs, the one has got a much lighter mane than the other one a much darker mane, you'll see maybe they'll develop a mane very similar to that of their father. In the meantime, I'm going to still stick around here and send you to another live location while we try and locate the rest of the pride.
Good morning and welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. A very good morning here this side. Everything has chilled and gone down temperature-wise, with our temperatures at about 22 degrees this morning. My name is Obakeng, and behind the camera we've got Dave. We have followed up on the Southern Pride from yesterday, and these guys have walked a bit of a distance from where we left them yesterday, and it looks like they were hunting all of last night, and not much success, I must say, but we'll keep with them and see what happens. I mean, look at how that inquisitive cub is just giving us a stare right now. Hello, young fella. I wonder
what is going through his head right now is like looking right through our souls. If only I could speak lion. Going down. The weather should still give them a bit of an advantage to be a little bit active. So I'm thinking they might still move about because it's quite cool today. And we also have a build-up of clouds coming from behind us. So it should be very interesting. If you look where Dave is going now, that female right there, just trying to get a bit of grass going there. And you often actually do find cats doing that. And it's just a way to actually try and make themselves sick or disembowel with indigestion and things like that. So they'll try eat a little bit of grass like that, and it would make them either have a loose tummy or really throw out or regurgitate. And that's why they would show such a behavior. We're going to stick with them and see what happens. This looks very promising. Yeah, from lions to hyenas, and here in the core territory of the North Clan. And I haven't seen any of the dominant females, but they seem to be in lots of other females and half-growns. They're all here. They have an old keel that one of them has just pulled into that long grass, but it looks to be a lot of excitement, over here. Yeah, he doesn't want to see the other members of the scavenger family. He's telling them, shoo, it is all ours, get out of here. And it is known for them to chase these scavengers because they want everything for themselves. But the vultures are always very patient to wait for those small scraps. Yeah, that is one dirty hyena. As you can see, he's been wallowing in a dark clay, mud, and that's why he's very dark. That is not the real color. They are the spotted hyena. And here, the clans range from 1 up to around 40 members, and it is a power to reckon because when hungry, they can go for even, young buffalo or even fully grown buffalo. These animals have been mistaken for many years to be scavengers, but they are very efficient hunters. They will run down their prey, tearing it, usually killing it very ruthlessly and inhumane by disemboweling it. Usually the animal dies of losing excess blood or parts of his body. When eating, the most high-ranking females usually eat fast, and I can tell there is one female that we only see the head to the right there. She is eating. They are the only, they are the ones that eat fast, then allow the other subordinate members to feed. Unlike, in other animals, it is a matriarchal society in hyenas where we have the alpha female. She is the leader of the clan. Well, historically, it was known that she was the only one that gave birth, but according to, my experience out here in the bush, other members do also give birth, but not necessarily in the den. They will split and go find a den a long ways away, give birth, raise their young, and then introduce them back to the clan, maybe in 6 or 7 months later. I have seen that happen
So it is not true that the female is the only one that gives birth. Remember that hyenas give birth to 2 after a short gestation period of about 3 months, and they are the only type of animal or canid that we have here that the young ones are born with teeth, ready to eat and fight. And looks like he's having a wallow. Look at that, he's got his legs up in the air and he's relaxed now. Do you see that? The hyena, I'm talking about the hyena way back there. And yeah, he's still happy, scrubbing his back. And the young ones usually try to kill one another, especially if they're born of the same gender. Then one will try to kill the other as soon as possible. The main reason is it guarantees, better care and also a place in the hierarchy or in the matriarchal society. But if they're born of the opposite, gender, then both of them might survive. Take note, if you ever go to a den where there is puppies or hyena cubs, look on their necks because you'll see lots of scratches. You'll see that they're trying to kill each other. Well, I'll stick here for a little bit, see what's going to happen, because it looks like there's lots of action and a few things and happening here and there.
Just as you're coming to us, these cheetahs have been moving around quite a lot, but the female's been scouting out this whole area here around us and looking far in the distance, and we couldn't see what she was seeing earlier, but see how she's just sitting and just looking around. So then Gerrit looked through his binoculars and he saw some nyalas far away on the hillside. So I think she's just trying to assess the situation and see how she can possibly get there without being spotted or so. Very, very far away. I can barely see it. I can't see them without my binoculars, but I can barely see them with my binoculars. So she's got exceptional eyesight. And while she's sitting here, the youngsters are playing in the background, but you can see the focus on her as she's looking around. She needs to find something to eat pretty soon. Look at these 2 youngsters. They have been chasing each other into the thickets the whole time and climbing the trees. It's been quite entertaining watching them. Oh, there they come. Entertaining. It's like a big jungle gym here with all these trees and the long grass and some bushes that they can run and jump over. We'll keep an eye on this female. She's just sitting and staring in the distance, but these youngsters are so entertaining. See the youngster sitting upright there, his tail just flicking away, just like any cat does when they are curious about something. There you go, into the thickets. Keegan, you're asking how often cheetahs need to eat. So this female cheetah and her youngsters, they'll try and eat and be very opportunistic about hunting any animals, and they'll try and hunt as much as they possibly can. But they probably eat around, if they can have a carcass once every week or so, they can survive. But she'll obviously try and feed them as much as she possibly can. As long as they have availability to water, she'll be fine, her and her youngsters. But as far as we know, they haven't eaten anything in the last 2 days or so, so that's why she's very, very keen to hunt. Youngsters all settling down. I see this one lying down is a little bit tired now, but I don't think the sibling's gonna let him settle. Okay, seems like the female's slowly on the move here in front of us. See, the youngsters are just looking in this direction now as she's starting to move. She's just walking across the road here in front of us. I think they've been sleeping in this open area for the whole night, and I think all the impalas and everything have moved away. The youngsters are slowly following her as well. Oh, there's one that's just climbing the tree right there next to us. I don't know if you can see him through the leaves there. Right in the tree here next to us. These youngsters are full of energy. Just keep an eye on him. He might climb out now. We'll keep an eye on the mom, because that's the one we want to stick with. There he goes, out of the tree. But once they realize that there's quite a distance between them and their mom, she's now disappeared behind some thickets, then she might call to them or they might call to her. See how he's walking, looking straight at his sibling. Oh, they're going to pounce. Here we go. Oh, they just disappeared into the thickets now. I think we're going to stick around for now, see what these youngsters get up to, but more importantly, see what that female cheetah gets up to. She's disappeared from our view. I'm going to try and stick with her and see what happens.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, and welcome back to the Djuma Pride. Now we are with them. We've managed to get a space once again, which is very, very cool. But for now, there's not too much happening. But that's okay. That's okay. The Pride is together, and they're on Djuma. And a very good chance that they're going to be here today and this afternoon. This evening, though, I can't promise which direction they'll go. Hopefully, they'll keep going east. But Andrew's found some tracks of some lions on the eastern boundary, Cheetah line, coming into Djuma. And we're trying to debate whether it's another Pride or if it was maybe the Lionesses hunting last night. Now, many of you, some people think lions are quite lazy and they don't move very far distances. I remember, and I've told this story before, we tracked lions, or we spent time with lions in the afternoon, and all the game drives saw the lions in the evening. And then I spent the entire night with those lions. I followed them. They covered the entire property that I worked on, and in the morning ended up pretty much in the exact same place that they had left the night before. And then when the guys came mobile in the morning after I'd spent all night with them, I told them where the lions were, and they said, these lazy lions. And I explained, no. They hunted and killed 6 times, and they just happened to be back pretty much where you left them last night. So it's not impossible for lions to cover a fair distance, and to go to the one side of Djuma and back again is not that far, actually. Get the one with the stick there, Morgan. There's a very active one there with the stick. And so, but I didn't have any of their tracks crossing out of this block, which means it's probably another Pride altogether that Andrew is busy tracking. It's not impossible that it is the same Pride, but they would have had to have gone from here to there and back again, and I haven't seen a track. So it's not impossible, but it's probably unlikely, probably different Pride. Hello, Tom. You want to know if the Nkuhumas will split? Well, it's a Possibility, but generally prides split due to too many females or females with too many cubs, and the competition for the food starts getting a bit too much. But what is going to happen is there's a lot of boys, so the pride won't necessarily split, but what will happen is that the boys will eventually have to will move off or be pushed away, and the lionesses, the cubs that are female, will join the pride and then strengthen their ranks. Currently there should be 8 females, 1 is missing, which means that there's 3 females that can join, so it'll take it up to 10, 11, which is not a lot. It's a sort of average pride sort of size in these areas, but then with all of the boys, 6 boys, those boys, well, they're going to become an absolute handful in the coming months, and eventually the females, what will happen is the pride will move, they'll hunt the 6 boys. We're not including the 2 big evoker males here, but the 6 boys will dominate the food over the females, and the females will leave them on that kill and then go hunt again, and eventually over time those boys will find them again, and that process will continue, and eventually the lionesses will get so fed up with these young boys stealing all the food that they'll deliberately leave them behind all the time, and pressure from bigger males will end up pushing them away. And so those 6 boys, if they stay together, if they all reach 4 years or 3 years together, will move off maybe as one, or they might even split into 2 smaller groups. It's debatable, but so far they're doing very well, still with 9 cubs since the beginning of this year, which is very exciting. But the females will sort of move in and take over the ranks. We've had 1 lioness, Nana, who died last year. The other young lioness, who we haven't seen around in a while, she keeps getting kept away by the males aggressively. I don't know if she will ever be allowed to really rejoin this pride. So we're looking at 10, 11 females in the pride. It's not too many, but if they then have cubs again, then the pride does get quite big, and that often does lead to what we call breakaways, when you've got a few older females that don't have cubs, and then you've got a few younger ones that have got cubs, and maybe the pressure of all of that turns into a bit of a split. And that is where the Telemati pride and the Nkumas apparently split at one point, possibly even other relations. It only takes 1 lioness with some cubs to start a new pride. So anything could happen. If there were more females in the cub ratio, then definitely could see a split, but I think it'll be the boys leaving and the girls just moving in and filling the gaps of the females that have left or passed away.
Beautiful. Back into this herd of buffalo. And it looks like we all kind of not surrounded, but there's actually quite a number of them all over here. It's so nice to see a herd of buffalo returning back. And they come and go all the time. You can see the water in the background, which we're at the Bevilshoek Dam, which is one of the dams that still have a lot of water still this year. Time of the year. These are African or Cape buffalo. And now our very social animal stays in a group, especially females, giving birth a lot, dominated by a few males in this group. And they're not actually strictly seasonal. Sometimes depend on they are habited. When there's a plenty of grasses, you see them reproduce non-stop, which means all year round. But some area where there's a lack of food-wise, and then they can sometimes not breed all year round. Look at these male looking at us like that. So this is how the male horn looked like. Very bald on top. And there it's very rough, hard, almost like a rock. It's been witnessed by a lot of hunters a while ago, many years ago, that if you shoot in that helmet, you won't kill that animal immediately. So they are kind of a very mean sometimes, buffalo. But in a herd like this, they're even a lot comfortable with anything. When I'm saying anything, not the lions. Of course, they wouldn't love being mixed with the lions around here. But a lot of time, all charge that made by any dangerous animals, or even those not dangerous animals, it's all about their environment. It's so important. So, a comfortable zone count. When you're close enough to that animal and they feel threatened, they will come right at you. You're going to have to shoot it. So that's why the behavior of the animals begin from understanding them, their environment. Once you know that it's so important, then you won't go close enough to them, even you know you're the best. Here's one of the cow. Beautiful shiny horn. And they're actually quite far away from Steve right now with these Gahuma lions. Otherwise, they will be very much interested on hunting. Always lions in buffalo, they always follow from far distance. They aim for the weakest who left behind cannot keep up with the group here. And those are finally left behind. And then you find the lions that get onto him. So I'm going to stay put here while I'm sending you to another safari guide.
Well, it's paid off for us. Slowly driving up and down the area of Leopard Dam and the drainage line, we've come across this very relaxed spotted hyena sitting out in a fairly sodic, dry area overlooking the drainage line. It's interesting, though, is that we don't often see hyenas here on Pridelands out in the open unless there's something else going on, like a carcass in the area or another predator. And this hyena has been looking over its shoulder behind itself towards the drainage line every now and again. I do wonder if maybe there is something else happening here. I wonder if there's maybe a carcass from last night or something. It was very windy last night and very, very dark with all this cloud. So it would have been the perfect opportunity for a predator to do some hunting. Just sticking around here to see if this hyena gives us any further indication. But it's really, really awesome to see. Actually, I was looking at this hyena a moment ago. It's got a really creased forehead. Now, it doesn't look like a very, very old hyena because it's still quite furry and the spots are very, very prominent, which generally fade with age and they get more grey and they usually lose quite a lot of the fur, especially around the face. And this hyena, very, very fluffy, but look at its crinkled forehead. I think it's so funny. I wonder why they have those creases. Now, I know hyenas have, huge amounts of muscle structure and attachment points along the top of its head there, so that it can shoot. Oh, look at that cute face. Seb, you're trying to melt some hearts right now. Oh, it is a bit sleepy though. It's a sleepy hyena. They look very cute and all that, but at the moment, there's a lot of these young ones moving around our camp. See what it's doing? It's looking over its shoulder again. Every now and again the wind picks up and it just looks around to make sure that, it's keeping an eye out to whatever. But you saw there when it raised its head up, just that long sort of neck, very thick. The neck itself is almost as thick as the head. In fact, thicker than the head. And that's all the strong muscles they use for breaking the bones and chewing, and also for lifting the carcasses that they might steal from something like a leopard, which is a much, more, not really slender, that's not really the right word, but it's just not as bulky. You know what I mean? Look at the neck, is so thick and bulky. It's not really designed for anything other than just ripping and tearing and pulling up meat. Oh, that's the stuff. Very relaxed. It's keeping its head up as well, which makes me think that there's definitely something going on. Nice big round belly. It might have eaten something last night. It's not breathing heavily or anything. It's not panting, but it is a nice cool morning. Oh, look at those strong jaws. Too fluffy. I actually wonder what a hyena feels like. I've been lucky enough to feel a number of the different predators during research throughout the Lowveld. Never touched a hyena though. I really wonder what the coat feels like. Is it soft? Is it really coarse? Look at those soft eyes though. I mean, you really might forget that this is the second most powerful predator on the African continent. Now, I think these hyenas that we're seeing right now, there's a second one which is not in an easy filmable location, so we'll show it to you just now when we reposition the vehicle. But I think these two hyenas were the same ones that we were viewing for a while at that den, which were having that interesting interaction with the warthogs. We haven't seen any hyenas at that particular termite mound for quite some time now, so they might have actually moved. This is quite far from that area, so I would be surprised to think that they carried those tiny little hyena cubs all the way up here, but they might have moved it and this is maybe not as far. And they've just gone to get some food, because of course hyenas need to eat as well. They are not well known for... What on earth got you frightened there? Oh, there's a few lesser striped swallows and barn swallows flying around that I think flew a bit close and gave it a fright. Well, we're going to stick around here with these hyenas and see what else they lead us to.
Still with our southern pride. It seems like they've been changing direction every now and then. My biggest guess would be because of the wind is swirling, and being interested in hunting and so on, I think that's what makes them keep changing direction as much as what they've been doing. Every now and then you see them into the wind and then trying to get the wind into their advantage, and hence they're milling about and changing direction so often. You'll see at times they'll also sit and try listen to what is happening around them. So we'll still keep following. The cubs are now also up, and yeah, let's see what happens next. A young male coming by at the back. Can see he's gonna be a big boy.
Welcome back to our very sleepy cats, who've decided that even though the sun is not shining, they're still going to seek shelter. I suppose preparation is key, isn't it? When you go camping, it's better to go and pitch your tents under what looks to be the shadiest spots, so that when the sun comes out later, you don't cook. And the lions have definitely picked a nice shady spot, so there will be no need for them to move at all for quite some time. Not all of them are in the shade, but at the moment they're all huddled up. Now, we haven't managed to count everybody, but when the cubs approached earlier, it did look to me as if 8 of them approached and we were with one of the older boys. on 1 second. Standing by, Elvis. You're welcome. It's space for 2. Just come to Ballinati's Mandoza Junction. You'll see our tracks. Just go directly north from there, from the junction. Zoe's. Elvis is on his way, everybody. Such a cool name, isn't it? Malusi, it can happen. If, for example, this Nkuhuma Pride, if they have males that stay with them for a while, then it is very possible for the males to mate with their daughters. But invariably what happens is male lions don't normally, due to the competitive nature of lions, don't normally look after prides for more than 2, 3, 4 years. So it is possible, if they stay longer, that they could mate with their offspring. But due to the transient nature of males moving in and out, it's not often the case. Undergo the same pressure of migrant or immigrant males moving in and out. Definitely, inbreeding is a huge reality, and big management steps need to be taken to curb that. But if you think about it, the Roka males have been with this pride or in this area for just over 2 years. It would have been 2 years in April, May that they arrived on the scene. They weren't really looking after this pride. The pride at the time had 1 cub from the Birminghams who didn't survive, and the youngsters or the sub-adults that are now adults, they were, I believe, Birmingham offspring. It might have been someone else, I'm not sure. I wasn't here when those cubs were born. But those females are now coming into estrus, so they're definitely advertising or exciting for the males. And the adults in the pride, Purple Eye, Originose, Chella, and Amber Eyes, all came into estrus last year and all mated and all have had cubs. So these cubs are the Avoca males' cubs, and they will defend them with their lives. Oh, Margot, the mange is good. It's gone. I haven't seen the lions since I was last here, and last time I was here, you see this one just in front of that one you're looking at? That's the smallest cub. That cub was the most affected by it, and last time it didn't have any fur on the tail, and it had a huge bald spot on its bottom. But it seems as if it's completely recovered. So quite amazing, actually. Last time when we saw them, I made the statement that the worst is over and the hair was growing back. It wasn't disappearing anymore. They weren't really losing it anymore. They weren't scratching as vigorously as they were. But the pride is looking in a very good condition. And when all the cubs emerged earlier, I couldn't see a single patch of furlessness anywhere. Did you? You didn't, Morgan. They all looked like they had recovered their fur, but we haven't had a really good look at them individually because they're all lying down now, but it seems as if the mange is gone. And that is normal if the pride gets to eat well and they get the nutrients that they need. And it goes to show that these lionesses have been very efficient hunters and have been providing lots and lots of food. So those of you who missed it, beginning of this year, all of the cubs in this pride were looking, first 4 months, were looking very, very scraggly. They went through a period of mange, sarcoptic mange, which affected them, very, very itchy skin, and they'd rubbed themselves raw.
Welcome back to the Mara. After watching that lioness sleeping who looked lazy, so we left her and came across here. We found 2 lionesses actually wanting to go for a hunt. Now they're concealing themselves in this grass because we have wildebeest who are not aware of these 2 lionesses. Yes, those are the wildebeest, and they're not actually aware whether these two lionesses are here. We've seen them actually walking, trying to close the gap between them and the wildebeest, trying to advance, but because of the wind changing direction, I think that's what made them stop and lay down in the grass. There were the people coming to see these lionesses. Actually, she's gone back to wants to sleep, or maybe to cover themselves, or maybe because of the wind changing direction, so they're trying to conceal themselves. But one is actually on a termite mound, but good thing the wildebeest have not yet seen her. She was trying to go after some topi, but the topis were aware. You can see them walking all the way in the background. Such an open space, and actually making it difficult for these lions to advance, because in the background I can see topis, I can see zebra. There are also hyenas were trying to follow. So I think they might hide themselves in the long grass, like one of them who's just perfectly in the grass, and see if they'll get closer to the wildebeest. Thank you so much for your question. I think those marks come in very helpful when these lions are walking into the sun, or maybe walking into the shade, because actually it also provides a little kind of shelters away the glare as they're walking into the sun direction. Not as much as what we can see in cheetahs, because cheetahs have that on their lower part of the eye, which is also very predominant to help them when they're hunting. But this one is also helpful when they're actually getting into shady area. It seemed like a very tough morning for lionesses. We've seen one of the Lolo lioness who failed on an attempt. So these two out here exposed, and I'm not sure if they will walk towards those wildebeest, or maybe they will ignore and choose something else. But I'm going to stick here and watch what they'll do next as I take you over to another live location.
We did a bit of a reposition, and we've now can see that this is the second hyena, not the first one. You can see the spots are a little bit more diffused, not as bright, and it's got a huge belly, and its face has still got a bit of blood on because there is a bit of a carcass here. Now that carcass looks extremely fresh, so I think these animals either made the kill this night or this morning or late last night, or they've stolen it from another predator, which seems more likely to me because these hyenas are looking around quite a lot. Well, this one is anyway. It looks nervous. and it's also slightly injured, which is a real shame. This hyena, I think, is either pregnant or just given birth. It's a very big hyena, but it's limping badly on its back right leg. The back right leg has been damaged somehow on the inside. Like, we can't see a wound or anything. I'm trying to see what animal that was. It looked like it might have been like a Ngala or maybe a young kudu, because it's the fur is thick and quite brown. Oh, look how strong it is, lifting that thing up, even with its injured back right leg, able to easily lift that carcass up. And the other hyena, let's see.
Still with our lions and still mobile. The females seem to be getting the pressure now from all the members of the Pride, having to make a plan about what is going to be on the table. Weather is still on their side, though, I must say. Nice and cool, using wind still to their advantage. So that is a very, very good thing for them. So let's see. We've been kind of hearing some game also in the distance. So if they cover the gap, hopefully they'll get lucky. See how they keep milling about. Sasikasi, do lions snore when they sleep? Never in my experience have I seen that or heard that. What I have, though, sometimes heard from lions is sometimes when they flop down, almost like throwing themselves to the ground, because of that impact of the weight pushing the air from the stomach. It will activate the larynx with the cartilages, as we were speaking yesterday, and it will almost give like a half muted, if I can call it that. So it will make a sound like that, but it's not because they're sleeping. It's because that air is being pushed by the weight from how they flop down. And that's exactly the sound that I've heard that's not controlled, if I can call it that. But snoring as they sleep, no, not that I have seen. Another interesting thing that I've seen is sometimes they would twitch, almost like they're having a dream. That's as far as pushing it into behavior of their sleep that is not controlled. So you would sometimes see them with eyes closed and everything, but then maybe your hindquarters starts twitching as if they were about to stand and run, or you see. So those are the kind of involuntary movements in their sleep that you would probably get, but not particularly snoring. Zo 50, is it difficult or irregular to see male collisions accepting other males? What I have seen happen is sometimes with older collisions, when one of the collisions, especially when there's two, let's say, let me give an example and say there's two males in a collision, they're starting to get old, just a little bit over their prime. One bad thing happens to the one and maybe the one is left alone, for example, and there's a younger collision, or there's younger males that have not established a terrain. What would usually happen, it would be a calculated risk for this older male to kind of incorporate the young male from elsewhere, or a nomadic male,
and join up with him, and that would give him the leverage of having a younger individual with him, in the sense of when they have to fight other males. But if those other nomadic males come as a collision already, then chances are they will actually push the sole older male off. So in a case where it's one-on-one and they're meeting together, chances are they'll form a new collision because of that. But also I've seen where an older male has lost a member of the collision and would bounce between younger collisions, and being submissive when he bumps into these younger collisions, just so that he's accepted and he could feed. But as soon as he tries showing signs of being dominant again, then these young boys would stand their ground, because they know they've got the leverage of being fitter and stronger at that point. So towards just after their prime, that's kind of what would happen with collisions. So it is an interesting concept that happens, but also you can imagine why it happens. I mean, it's a form of Mother Nature saying, these genes have served their purpose. It's now time for a new line of set of genes, and that's why these collisions form, is so that the males have security. They can fend for themselves as a unit like that, and making sure that their genes move forth with the upcoming pride. And that's all the purpose of having collisions like that. Guys, while we stick with these guys and see what is going to be happening for the duration of the morning, we'll send you off to a very beautiful location somewhere in Africa.
Welcome again back to the Mara, where we've seen a different change. The wildebeest now have walked across and in front of these lionesses. But it's very interesting how they've not even seen her, because the wind direction is actually blowing from the wildebeest towards the lions. And I'm even surprised that the zebras have not seen these two lionesses. Very, very interesting. But they don't look like they've shown any interest to get closer. She's still on the termite mound. She's still watching them. Not sure if they're going for them or not, but I'll be soon to see. They're actually about 30 meters away. She's not moved, she's not even changed position, she's still staring at them. But over to the right where she's facing, I think there's some hyenas. There's a big clan over there. Not quite sure if she's watching them or she's just hesitating or wants them to get a little bit closer. But I think that's too open. They can actually see her when she tries to advance or maybe approach them. The other lioness is still there. But I can't really see her because of the long grass. And sometimes what happens, so by remaining concealed, that will make this other herd just stare at her and not watch the other lioness that is hiding in the long grass. And that is a tactic that sometimes they use, because all of them will be aware and watch, or maybe sometime they can even get too close. And when something like that happens, the other one will go around and sneak onto them. So is that the tactic? Let's see if that's what's going to happen. I've actually lost the other lioness, so I'm not sure if she's creeping in the long grass or not. I'll still be waiting here patiently to see if the other lioness has moved towards them or not, as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from lions on the other side of the Mara triangle to some different ones in the same area. Here I have found Olalashe and one of the Olololo girls, and believe it, they are on a honeymoon. Right now he's doing the much needed rest, because that female, they just mated, and I've just timed it. It's been about 5 minutes since they mated, so I don't know how much longer. I just arrived. But remember that during the mating season or the mating time, the female will come into estrus and they'll mate for up to around 5 days, mating every about 20 to 30 minutes. But the first few days it can be, up to around the first 10 minutes, but towards the end up to half an hour. In a day they can mate up to 50 times, and so in about a week they will mate up to around 350 times. Well, that is what it is said, but Olalashe has been mating for over 12 days now. She started out with one of the collared girls of the Olololo females and her daughter, and then now she's mating with the other daughter. It's been 12 days for him, and only about the third day, I think, for this female. In all those matings, only about 4 cubs will be born, and it's after a gestation of about 3.5 months. When all females come into season at the same time, even if they're 3 or 4, he is in charge to make sure that he mates with all of them. And this was the case here, and he's been in charge fully because he's one of the dominant males. Well, he might look, like very sleepy, but as soon as the female, wakes up and try to present herself to him, he gets into action very, very quickly. It is necessary because he needs to spread his gene, and if he doesn't do that, the lionesses might actually chase him out, because the previous male who was here was chased out by the girls because he wasn't capable, he was getting old, and so he was chased out, and Olalashe came in. So he has to do that. Well, in between matings, this is what they do. Remember to talk to us. #WildEarth. Question, comments are really, really welcome. It's still a very beautiful morning. It's not warm. Temperature hasn't increased at all since we started. It's very, very overcast. A very good day to be out here in the wilderness enjoying this beautiful, scenery and scene. Although they were looking very lazy like this, they won't pass for a warthog passing by or a zebra. But during mating, most energy is directed towards mating. And to see this is actually great, because this is an animal that is actually facing a lot of threats. And so to see them copulating is such, a blessing. I'm gonna stick here for much longer. Let's see what's happening somewhere else.
Thanks, Isaac. Well, you're back with us, everybody. And, well, our lions are not doing much. They're very flat. There was definitely some interest this morning, as we discussed, The males are definitely interested in one of the females, possibly even two, but it seems as if that interest has dissipated. If there was mating, you'd know about it by now. We've been with them back here for at least 45 minutes. And well, that is about as much interest as he's shown in the world. And if there was a mating pair, he would be right next to her. Every move. So, we will try capture it if it happens, but there would have been some action by now. It's possible that there's some stages happening. We haven't seen the Pride in some time, so we don't know. Maybe there have been mating already over the last few days. And they've just caught up with each other again. But the reports I've heard is the Pride has been moving around. There's been 7 of them with the males, and then the whole Pride with the males. They've gone as far as Mala Mala, covering quite a big distance in search of food. You can imagine with all of these mouths to feed. Impala just doesn't cut it. Let's quickly go to the Masai Mara.
Well, they just mated again, so it's every 10 minutes. So from now, another 10 minutes they'll mate, and she initiated that, and it usually doesn't last very long. It's about 3 seconds, and she goes back to her original position of resting until the female is ready once again. Remember that during this time, he is very defensive of her. If another male comes in or the other coalition male comes close, it might not, be very good for him. And so, if she wakes up and tries to leave, he will follow her very, very closely. And that means, he is still in power. But towards the end, sometimes, it's not him who sires the cubs because he becomes too tired, and the other male comes in to actually finish up the mating. And this will go on the whole day, as you can see. It will go on and on and on, just like this. Yeah, looks like they are back to their original position until the female decides that she is ready. Kyle, do they hunt more during mating season? Well, a lot of attention is given to mating. 90% of attention is given to mating. The only few things they will do is, if they find a drink, they will drink. If a warthog passes by or an animal, they will take advantage of that time, but most energy is diverted towards mating. They do nothing else for 3 to 5 days. And for Lalashe, he did have a meal in between, but that's when he stopped mating with one of the females. So they don't feed as much. They might drink, and if it's a meal, if it's only by chance, they won't actually just leave and go hunt, because every time the female stands up to go, I have seen it even try to stalk, the male will actually come and try and mount her, because he doesn't care if she's hunting or not. She knows that if she goes down to try and stalk something, it's like, going into the mating position, and so he will try and mount her. Okay, so 3 minutes have gone now, so I think it's in another 7 minutes. Hopefully it will happen again, but yeah, I'm staying here.
We follow followed these cheetahs very patiently. They've moved into a much denser area. And this female, that's the mother that's closest to us here, she actually got very close to some Nyalas and we saw her running and chasing. But it's quite a rocky area. You can see the rocks all around her. So she slowed down quite a bit and she unfortunately missed. But she's just lying down and catching her breath. Oh, she's back up. So I think this is going to be her whole day. As it's a nice cool day, she's going to be trying to hunt as much as she possibly can, and we'll obviously try and stick with her as much as we can this morning and see what she gets up to. There we go. See how the youngsters immediately knows mom is on the hunt, just following behind. Just stopping and looking around a bit as well. So she's hunting into the wind, so walking as the wind is blowing towards her, so that her scent is not being blown onto other animals. But they are slowly disappearing now into the thickets here. You just see the two youngsters are slowly following. But I think right now we're going to stick with these cubs and see if we can get a view of them maybe hunting and trying again. But for now, we'll see what else is out there as well.
Well, the cheetahs might be going on a hunt or looking to hunt, but these hyenas are not moving at all. Well, they actually did move a moment ago. They got up and they moved to a new spot. So as you see now, we're at a different little mud wallow. This bigger hyena in the foreground, the one that's very brown in color, she has carried this carcass, a couple of 100 meters and deposited it in a much larger, deeper waterhole. And she was looking like she wanted to sit down and lie down. So the back right leg is injured. She's limping quite badly on it, not wanting to put too much weight on it. And she tried to sit down a moment ago and it was very painful. So she wasn't able to. Oh, you see, she keeps sort of slipping over every now and again in the mud. She's not very stable. I wonder if she's going to go and... Oh, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I thought these two might have been friendly with each other, but it seems like this larger hyena is not happy about the smaller one being there. I think the smaller hyena is a male. And I think he's interested in maybe trying to get some of this carcass that the female is defending quite vigorously. Now, I'd be interested if this male hyena is the one that injured this female. That seems unusual to me, especially because there's not a hyper-aggression right now, and he certainly seems very submissive. I wonder if maybe if they did steal this carcass from another predator, if that is the reason why she is injured. Maybe there was a bit of a scuffle. I don't think she would have tried to take on our lions, so I can only suspect that maybe there was a leopard that made a kill during the heavy wind and dark, cloudy night. This is so interesting. They seemed so sort of friendly earlier. Not friendly, but they were lying without too much aggression. They followed each other quite closely. But look at her. She's put it in this water maybe because it's much easier to defend. That's interesting. So I know hyenas often do stash carcasses in water to stop them from, smelling and attracting others, and also to preserve them in a sense. It wouldn't preserve it in the way that the meat will still be fresh, but parasites and other things can't get in there and destroy it. So, they can eat meat that's quite rotten. So it might, get rotten under the water, but it won't get destroyed by parasites and other predators. Well, the male is moving off. The female seems to be happy that she's defended the carcass, and maybe now she can relax a little bit more. Perhaps that's why she wasn't relaxing before, because the other hyena was very close. Let's see what she does next. Will she pick up the carcass and continue walking? Now we're in a bit of a drainage line, so there are lots of these little mud wallows and little water holes leading all the way to Leopard Dam. There's plenty of places for her to stash this thing. And there's plenty of shade as well, not in this particular spot, but around us there's lots of shade, lots of trees. Oh, look how she's walking. I feel so sad when I see them injured like that. She's still very strong. She's in great condition. So last I saw this hyena was at the den site, and she was not limping like this. So this is definitely a fresh thing that's happened last night. I'm hoping it's just very tender, and in a day or two she'll be 100% again. Because the hyenas here on Pridelands are the dominant animals, the dominant predatory group. So they need all the members in order to maintain that sort of dominant influence on the area. And she is certainly one of the older members of the Pridelands clan. We still don't know the exact dynamics. We don't know exactly who's the matriarch, who's given birth to youngsters, and who are the subordinates, but we're slowly building a picture. If any of you have been taking screenshots at home, helping us to build a little bit of a database, that would be great. Remember, every little bit helps.
Welcome back to the enemies of the clans of hyenas. Our sleepy lions. One of the cubs walked over to Chilla, who's the lioness with the youngest cub, and tried to suckle, but was refused. They will continue to suckle. I mean, lions are generally weaned between up to 7 months, but they'll continue to drink up until 10 months, even more if there is younger cubs in the pride. And right now, Taylor's cub is approaching that sort of age. It's about 10 months now. I think she was born in December, January. Yeah, December, so we're in October. So because she keeps stimulating the milk, all the other youngsters will definitely try and capitalize on that. Just going to listen for a few moments. You can probably hear the rattling testicula in the background. Very common call. They're one of our little LBJs, little brown jobs, that can be difficult to identify sometimes, but their call is very characteristic. If you can't hear it, I'll play it for you in my hat. So have a little listen. Just turn the volume down a bit so I don't disturb. You can hear that rattling, can't you? Wonderful birds, very common around here. Occurring in your acacia woodlands, clearly here in our mixed bush willow. And we've heard the Deirdre's cuckoo of late. Deirdre's cuckoo will also parasitize on the rattling testicula. Who makes a very small little ball nest, concealed in a little bush. Those of you who know me know that we like to do a bit of birding in these sightings due to the fact that the lions are not doing too much.
Ja, ek kon dat is maar pas is laat is. Just outside of the camp.
breeding is now between October and April for the Cisticula. Okay, well, we're going to stay here, everybody. Maybe the lions will do something, but they probably won't, so we'll just do some more birding.
From the lions in Djuma back to the Masai Mara, and the lioness that was up on the termite mound is actually right next to the three zebras that are wildebeest that are just in the middle of the screen. There you go, there you go. See one there? She's going. Yes, she's got it. She's got it, guys. So I'm just heading there just to get to see that. Wow. From patiently watching that lioness, she came out from the termite mound and just went straight to the wildebeest. And yes, we have a kill. What a morning. I thought that she had ignored that, but patience has paid. So I'm just heading there to see what has happened. But remember, this is nature taking its course. You know, lions have to eat. We have lots and lots of wildebeest. So if one dies, I actually don't feel that it's a pressure. I don't feel that it's gross. But these lions might have cubs, so it's very important for them to eat as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are watching us from home, if you just joined us, we just happened to see a kill. Wow, what a morning, what a morning. This is very, very cool. Okay, Big James? What a morning this is. This is the lioness that was up on the termite mound. From one moment, I thought that she was ignoring. That's the kiss of death. I apologize for those who think that this might be gross. This is actually nature taking its course. Wow, that was super intense. That was a very intense moment. Wow. See, she had waited patiently to see and to watch these wildebeest coming, and none of them were aware of her presence. She actually waited, and when she looked and became comfortable that all of them were not looking, she crept in the long grass. Well done, well done. Looked easy. I can hear lots of them snorting. One down, but so many others are going to survive. And that's the reason we have big population of such plains game, because when one goes down, the rest get a chance to walk away and actually walk free. I'm just going to be silent for a moment for you to watch this. You can see the last kicks. She's not yet dead. So they have to kill by choking. That easy. But who knows how long they've been trying to hunt the fail. Sometimes you wait, and when you almost think that it's going to happen, something just spooks. They pray and they run off. But this morning, the prize has been paid. Well done. For those who are joining us right now, we're watching these two lionesses watching over zebras and taupees and wildebeest. So these two lionesses, and particularly this one that went for the kill, was up on a termite mound, and the wildebeest were just grazing slowly, and slowly they changed direction and walked towards where this lion was. She sat there for a minute. She took about 20 or 25 minutes, and then later on she started creeping in the long grass. She got too close. None of the wildebeest were aware, and then she went for it. Wow, that was a super intense moment. But then this is nature taking its course. Lions have to eat. There have to be a balance in this ecosystem. So if you have lots of wildebeest, lots of plains game, then grass might be wiped off. So we also need to see them feed. Wow, look at that, how powerful she is. So the sister is not even aware that she went for a kill. She's trying to look out, where are you, sister? But then she might go for it and start eating from the sort of fat. Oh, look, just hear the crushing power. Oh yes, I can see the sister coming. She's now seen that breakfast is being served. Decided to take a rest. Now, the one that went for a kill is so playful with this wildebeest. I can see you, sister. Well done for bringing breakfast this morning. What a morning. Well done to this lioness. So I'm going to sit here and wait as she starts to devour or to eat as I take you over to another live location.
So these cheetahs have come into an open clearing further away from where they were. Oh, look at the youngsters, are playful again. So the female's just lying down at the back there. I think let's see if we can just reposition a little bit. Gonna see if we can get around the corner there. Maybe we'll get a better view of them on that side. Just gonna get around this other vehicle. Okay, we've got a view of them now. They're slowly moving around to the right-hand side, around to the left-hand side now. Here comes the mom. She's coming towards the youngsters. They've all kind of looked in in that direction. See how she's got a lot of attention on her ears there. I think she's maybe smelt or seen something. All these youngsters are looking in the same direction as well. See how their body positioning and their behavior has changed quite a lot. The youngsters were very playful and all of a sudden walking very slow movements. See that black behind the mother's ears as well. Black behind the youngsters' ears. Definitely looking and scanning, and you can see there's some sounds or something that's catching their attention. Incredible how they've just changed the behavior like that very, very quickly. It could be even a smell, but I think it's they are hearing and maybe seeing a little bit of movement. Perfect area for this female to hunt in. The grass is nice and long. She'll be able to stalk closer with a few scattered thickets all around. Have a look at this youngster that's left of the mother. She's actually got a bit of a white patch on the ear there. Quite a nice identifying feature of this youngster. Be able to identify her very easily as she gets older and she sticks around in this particular area. Incredible how they just blend in with this long grass here as well. You can see Mom's mouth is open, so it's a little bit warmer than it was earlier, but there's still a nice cool breeze that's blowing. Look at the attention on her face. See how she bobs her head around very, very quickly. Got some lala palms there and the lala palm trees in the back there as well. What? I think she's decided to maybe look for something else. It could be that there's even Ngala bulls or something quite big that she can't really hunt, or she'll be risky to hunt for her. But while she's on the move like this, I think let's see if we can keep up with her, and Gerrit and I will stick around and see what she gets up to.
I wish those cheetahs success for a hunt, like these two lionesses here. Now back here, the other lioness has joined in, and look at that. She's so playful, acting like, she's so excited. Actually, I don't think she's believing that was so fast, that was easy. Like, wow, I can't believe I did this. So playful, acting like she's actually going for the hunt, while the other one is busy trying to rip through that carcass. I can tell it was easy for her because she didn't actually run more than half a minute. Then she's also not panting as heavily like most of the time I'll find, watching a hunt. And immediately after the hunt, you see, after they kill the prey, you see them resting about 20 to 25 minutes before they start eating. She's got lots of energy. You see how she's turning this wildebeest. Look, thank you for your question. This is a fully grown wildebeest, actually. Look at the size of the horns. Look at the size of this entire animal. It's a fully grown. You can see she's managed actually to open on the side. first begin by eating the softer tissues. You can see her pulling the skin, and that one is just licking the skin to make it softer so that she can bite through and tear through the skin. At one moment I thought that they were not even interested with this wildebeest, but then when everything calmed down and the wildebeest looked unaware of the lion's presence, then she began stalking. So the rule of nature has to be patient. So patience pays, and they actually seen this because when wind changes direction, sometimes they have to wait until they get the right position to advance, and that has really paid them a prize this morning. Wow, it looks like that one is so hungry. They've just begun tearing from the groin because it's much softer. So they go for the softer tissues, which helps them or enables them to go through the entire carcass. You can hear the carne slicing through that flesh. Turn it over for a perfect bite. So this is a good sized meal that can last these lionesses for about 4 days. If the hyenas will not come and kick them away, because we are not far from a hyena den. So I'm hoping these two lionesses will be able to eat as much as they can, take it to safety where they can guard it. So I'm still going to stick around here and watch as these two enjoy their breakfast as I take you over to another live location.
Well, from active lions to, lions on honeymoon, but on a break. That is Olalashe. You can see how good he blends into that grass. If you didn't know what you were looking for, or if you're just driving by, you'll just pass him for a thick thicket. Yeah, this is the other part of lion's life during breaks when mating. What I expect right now is for the lioness to come and present herself to the male, because she has left and walked quite a long way out, and it's the only way that they're gonna mate is for her to come. She's a long way and we cannot see her, so it's about time that she comes back. Well, Alasha seems to be investigating if there's anybody else close by. Sniffing the air is another way of picking up somebody quickly, but I don't know if he really knows where she is, because she left and she's only about 30 meters to my right. Look at him. He looks like he got a bite mark just behind the nose there. During this time of mating, there is a lot of clawing and biting, and that could have been from that. Amazingly, it doesn't get infected because lions and especially cats have got amazing antibodies, and it will heal. And sometimes that is what gives a lion a character. Those facial marks sometimes is how we can tell who is who, because some of them are so big and deep, they don't heal, and when they heal, they heal, but when they heal, they leave us a mark that is evident. It wasn't like that. So, they do receive lots of scars. He's gone back to his sleep mode, but I'm sure he's paying attention using his ears to make sure that nobody else is around. He is lucky that Olalashe is not around, because that lioness has walked quite a long way, and if he was nearby, definitely will take full advantage to try and dominate and take over, that lioness. Usually they don't give each other that distance if they're mating, without, when another male is there. But he knows that the Olalashe is not around, and that's why he's given him, that lioness a very huge distance. He is lucky, and I think he's taking full advantage of having that solitude time to himself, a break from the lioness. But I don't think he's got much longer, because the female might come back anytime for some more mating. But this is what he's gonna do. He's got to wait until she comes. So I'm gonna wait a little bit more, see what happens here.
The waiting game is on. We're waiting for our lions to do something other than lie flat, but that is what they do, everybody. 21 odd hours a day, they will rest, conserve their energy. We were very fortunate to go live with them this morning, being as active as they were. You've got a brief view of all the cubs greeting the adult females. Those are always some of my favorite moments. The male's head is up over there. There's Mohawk. He's going, what was that noise? It's just a cub moving. He's going to plop down in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He's not listening to me, everybody. He's watching some birds. He's looking at the ladies going, where's breakfast? Anybody going to go make me some breakfast? He's trying to look over the rest of the pride and see where his brother is. Yes, his brother's lying over here flat. And he is going to go flat soon once again. Always impressive to see males with their heads up like that, and just to see the size of the mane. How much more impressive. Let's quickly go back over to the Mara.
Well, just like I predicted, she has come, and Olalashe has to do what he has to do. Yes, I must say that this is a very strong guy to have been mating for over 12 days with different females. Yes, I can say that it is still on, and very much on, by the looks of how she quickly arrived and how quickly he also reacted. Taking a break now and wait for another few minutes before they go. The female seems to be behaving quite interesting for me, because she keeps looking up like she's also interested in making some food. It could be possible because it's easy to sneak away from Olalashe, because after mating, he is tending to sleep more. And if the female finds something, I'm sure she could be able to sneak away and go make a meal. Because I don't know if he's gonna stand up or he's just gonna stay there. It looks like he's very interested in following her. Maybe if he walks much farther, he will be following her. Will he? I don't know. She's walking farther and farther. The lioness. Yeah, lie down. Looks like Lalasha didn't see where she lied. Okay, has taken note of where she is. I don't think he's gonna go closer to her. He might zonk out and just sleep there. He is in his prime, as you can see. His mane is nice and dark. I would give him a good 9 years. This is the best time of his life. Looks like he wanted to wake up because I don't know if he thinks there's another male close by, making sure there's no other male. Yeah, making sure Olalasha is not around. So he's still very much in charge and he won't let anybody else close by. He's making sure that nobody is around. He is the only one. Remember that they can be aggressive towards each other. And he's got a limp. Where did it come from? Well, every 12 hours that we leave them without seeing them, anything might happen. And he could have been clawed. Maybe he walked into a thorn. But it will eventually heal. He hasn't eaten much in the last 2 days. Well, I'm gonna stay here. Yeah, let's take you to another live location.
Welcome back to andBeyond and Ngala. Now we've managed to find quite a lovely journey of giraffe, and they all seem to be hanging around together. There are a couple of young ones, mostly females around that I can see. Maybe there are a few young males, and quite interestingly, the two that are closest to us are two young ones. You see, there's oxpeckers on the one on the left, combing through. You see how their tail's trying to swat them away. Now, quite interestingly, as we zoom in a little bit on that little one, just below its tummy, can you see its umbilical cord is still sticking out almost in the middle of its stomach. Now, that can be a great way to try and age that young one. It looks like that umbilical cord is actually very soon going to fall off, and it normally falls off at around 3 months old or so. So I would guess that giraffe to be around that age, maybe just less than 3 months old, and the one that's walking off to the right-hand side as well looks very similar age. And it's quite interesting. I mean, giraffe are not territorial, and they actually have no real social structure, which is quite interesting. Even leopards and most cats who spend lots of time by themselves and solitary animals, that's a social structure of sorts. These giraffe, I mean, although there's quite a few of them here in what we call a journey, they've got no obligation to really spend any time with one another. I mean, a mother and calf is the only time that you'll really consistently see them together. Have a look how those lips are kind of wrapping around the sides, that tongue. Isn't it amazing how it almost works like a hand or a claw? Those ears are always listening. Oopsie. Apologies. Just nibbling away. I mean, this giraffe has still got a long way to grow until it gets that long neck that giraffe have, and that's an evolutionary advantage that it will have to get right to the top of trees where other animals won't be able to get. I mean, even this little one is having to bend down to that small little bush to get to the top of the leaves. However, it will be now competing with other animals like kudus. Bigger giraffe will also be able to reach down to the bottom there if they really wanted. But this small one won't be able to reach to the top of the taller trees just yet. Look at it looking at us. Very fluffy horns. How's that tongue wrapping around, almost licking and cleaning its nose? It's quite amazing. That tongue is incredibly long. And you'll see it's got very few nerve endings in it. It'll wrap around branches that are super thorny, one that we can't even get close to touching with our hands. And that tongue will just strip all the leaves and all the thorns off without feeling anything. It seems quite fascinated with us. I don't know if it's listening to me. An interesting noise. Now its head straight up. You see how when it shook like that, all those oxpeckers flew off? Those are actually yellow-billed oxpeckers, quite a special oxpecker to see. We generally see red-billed oxpeckers. Quite light in color as well. Now, it looks like a young male, that giraffe. And you'll see, as that giraffe gets older, bigger and stronger, and the testosterone levels in it increase, it will in fact get a lot darker. You'll often find males, as they get older, they are quite a lot darker than the females, and quite a lot darker than when they're born. Unlike the females, who will generally stay a very similar color. It's amazing how these two little ones have been so comfortable with us. We are quite close. The older ones in the background are not worried about it either. They've just continued on their way. It's amazing how such a big animal, I mean, it's quite an open area here, in fact. But even such a big animal can disappear. I'm going to keep going. I might pop down towards the Timbavati riverbed and spend some time driving in there, trying to see if we can find any leopards or leopard carcasses hanging in the bigger trees.
So we also have a giraffe and some zebras here close to our northern boundary on Pridelands. We left that hyena still in that little waterhole, and we've just been doing a bit of a loop, and we came across this lovely aggregation of animals. So we've got a giraffe there feeding on these fresh green knobthorn leaves, and the zebras feeding on the green vegetation that's underneath the trees. And there's some impalas also in the area, but they're in quite thick bush, so we won't look at them right now. But it's interesting, you almost always find these three species together, because they're all focusing on slightly different food, and they're all different heights. So they all focus on different food, and they also look for danger in different ways. Now, zebras are very alert animals, but of course they can't see as high, or they can't see as far as a giraffe can with their huge, long neck. So it works really well, this system, and they all look out for each other. So we've got the giraffe is by itself because they're reasonably solitary, or at least have only temporary associations. So that's why this one is alone. It's a female. She's on her own, being attended by a whole lot of oxpeckers, just slowly gleaning through her coat for any ticks and parasites, dead skin, that kind of stuff, while she feeds. And the zebra is probably a little family, or a harem. So I know that at least there are one or two females there. There could be a male somewhere. I haven't noticed a stallion, but there's almost certainly one here. The one with its back to us is a female. This closest one, I think, is also a female, potentially. I'm not sure about the one far away. I think it's also a female. There's at least 3 or 4 zebras here. And then a whole herd of impalas that were very, very... Well, there's an impala right there that were racing about and being chased by a male. So this is a female impala. Now, interestingly, we were talking about impalas yesterday and the difference between antelopes and gazelle. And I wasn't 100% sure, but I did a bit of research. Now, you notice this impala here has no horns. So this is a female. Now, with gazelles, both with most of the gazelles, both male and females have horns. The male's horns will be a little bit thicker. Now, another difference between antelope and gazelle is that gazelles are generally smaller, and they do something called pronking or stotting. Now, it's something we do see in impala, fairly frequently, but gazelles are well known to do it all the time to show off their fitness, and also to display probably for some females, I'm not sure, but it's definitely to do with anti-predator behavior. And then also, the other antelope species that we get, larger ones, like, kudus, wildebeest, that kind of stuff, they don't generally tend to do stotting. So gazelles, the smaller ones, tend to do it. And they're in a slightly different family. So they're not in Bovidae, they're in the gazella. That's what the gazelles are. So that's the main differences there. Antelopes and gazelles in the same Oh, there's some impala doing slotting right now. Oh, we just missed it. Off to the right, sort of where this zebra is looking, there was a female impala that just did a little bit of that rocking seesaw sort of jumping. I think the zebra is very interested in it, probably wishing she could do it herself. And there goes the giraffe, showing off how flexible its neck can be, reaching back to scratch its own shoulder there. Because they're not the most flexible of animals, but they do their fair bit. It's such a lovely, peaceful scene. I think we might just sit here a little bit longer.
So we've been sitting with these cheetahs for a while now. They've come back and they actually settled down about 20 meters or so away from where they were last night when we left them. So this female's done a massive loop and just come back to this open clearing and is settling down here. I think they are very happy with this open clearing. And she's got a nice shaded spot here and she can see all around her to see if there's anything that will be close. They've also settled on a nice sandy patch in the nice thick shade. With mom lying up onto like a little bit of a rise, so you can see which one of them is the lookout between all three of them. See, the female and the youngsters are falling asleep. The sun has come out from behind all the clouds now that we had the whole morning, and it's nice and hot with a bit of a breeze blowing, so this shade is very welcome. You might see her just sleeping like this with her head up high, and the youngsters also already sleeping like that. And that's so that they can keep an eye out around them, just open their eyes and keep a lookout. One or two of the youngsters, or the one youngster is actually lying flat on that nice cool sand. And Liam, you're asking if animals dream. I think they do. Have you ever seen animals twitch and kind of do erratic movements while they sleep? So I do think they do dream, but they have to go into quite a deep sleep, and I think cheetahs don't really sleep that deeply because they have to keep an eye out around them. See how she's just lying with her head up like that? Very iconic cheetah pose, but she's very likely to keep on sleeping like that, just so like there she can look around her and keep an eye on what's going on around her. But for now, I think Gerrit and I might actually leave these cheetahs. I think they're going to settle down for the afternoon and see if we can maybe find something else while it warms up quite a bit.
Beautiful. So from cheetah to an rosette spotted animal, Tandy the leopard, right on top of that mound. Seems to be looking away from us now. Actually, we're far from where we normally see her. This is just in the area where in Torchwood, the property where she's at right now, and she just seems to be alone, not with the cubs at the moment. Probably the cubs are hiding or somewhere, and they do their best. It's a time for hunting for them. They have to leave the cubs alone, get on a hunt. Still better chance for her to be able to look around, as you can see, right on top of the mound. So better chance of see things from far away, and this is when she's just gonna run down when she see anything very interested on that high point where she's at right now. She's been seen this morning, so probably she's been lying down there for a while. The guy spotted her. He spotted her right there. Since she hasn't moved, she's probably going to move as she's just now sitting up. Just hoping if she moved from there, she had our direction. She mustn't go down to the river that side. They use a sense of sight, smell, hearing as well during the hunt. It's already daylight, but they're still very much interested on hunt. Leopards, lions do the same. Cloudy day, get on hunt, kill even during the day. Yawn. It's so that sometimes they don't want to do it too much because then it's a lot of energy wasted. Every time they spot a prey trying to get into it, they get spotted. But at night, that's where they're well camouflaged. Darkness take place. So right now she's looking southwest. So I'm gonna stay put here, see if she will get another visual of her again. If not, then we're gonna move. While we do that, I'm gonna be sending you to another safari guide who will be continuing to show you the beautiful of the wilderness in Africa.
Another success. We've tracked these males. It looks like they've been trying to get to where the females have been, but obviously with the heat, they starting to fall down a little bit, taking a bit of a nap for the afternoon. So let's see what happens with them. I'm hoping if they do actually go into a bit of a sleep, maybe they will give us a little bit of that twitch I was speaking about earlier on, and we'll see it. Maybe it will be evident in these guys. So let's keep watching and see if they actually prove me right. Looks a little bit hungry, that guy. The rest of the Pride is the Pride that we had a view this morning. They are in a bit of a northwest direction from where we are now, and in kilometers that would convert to about 4, maybe 5 kilometers away. So obviously these guys predominantly would use scent to try follow where the female had been, and this is the vicinity where the females were last night, close to the dam where we left them. So they still obviously patrolling territory in the same time that they would try and follow the females. So hence they've taken a bit of time, but maybe this afternoon they catch up to the females. I mean, one can never jump the gun and say what's going to happen in nature, but we hope that's the case and we can see them together with the Pride. We'll keep with these guys and see what happens.
Welcome back to the Mara. You can see our 2 lionesses here have really done a great job. They look like they were super hungry. Look at that. They've opened the entire rib cage. They've actually eaten the hind leg, one of the hind leg, and they're still going on. Like I told you, they have to start from the groin because it's softer and it's easy access to the entire carcass. This meal will last them for at least 3 to 4 days. So what will happen, maybe after eating enough, they might pull this carcass to a place where it's safe and secure, as they want to guard it from other predators like hyenas. Soon we'll start seeing vultures soaring up in the air, and that might attract hyenas to come over, because we're not far from a hyena den. We have about more than 25 hyenas right in that den. Good thing they've not even smelled this, because 25 hyenas, these lions cannot be a match, so they'll have to actually push them over. But thanks to the wind, it's actually calmed down. The wind is not blowing that much, because hyenas can actually smell a carcass up to even 5 kilometers away. So it's going to be a good, easy breakfast for this too. Not sure. Thank you so much for your question. These two lionesses are part of the Ololo Pride. The Ololo Pride has about 17 lions, and we've seen a breakaway in that pride. We've always seen 2 or 3, so they walk in pairs, sometimes 3. So sometimes they regroup together, but what we've seen mostly, if a lion pride becomes too big, we happen to see lots of breakaway, or they split up. So these two have been together for the longest time now that I've been here. So it's going to also to be a good chance for them, a good access, good advantage if they walk in a pair. The stomach starting to fill up. Okay, thank you for your question. The reason why they always eat fresh kill is because that is how they can survive well. Even though they're opportunistic, if they come across a hyena that has killed or taken down a wildebeest, be it a wildebeest, Thompson gazelle, they might even chase that. But they always prefer to hunt on their own, and that is the reason why you always see them going after a live kill, because there's nothing to scavenge, so they have to do it for themselves. While these two are enjoying their breakfast, let me take you over to another live location.
Well, from lions munching their breakfast to a beautiful big breeding herd of ellies. Looks like they're on a mission and they're heading somewhere. There is no eating, there is no drinking. It is moving. That is the beautiful Olololo Syria escarpment, behind there. And somewhere a long way there is where Tim is with her lionesses. But I'm here with all my elephants, and it's just a beautiful scene to see these more than 50 elephants scattered in front of me, heading towards me. And it's going to be lovely to wait for them here. I've waited for them for about 5 minutes and seems to be advancing very fast towards me. So it means they are on a mission to go get some water. I would think so. Elephants are very intelligent and smart. They will know that there is water in that direction, and actually even if it's cleaner water than being out there in the open. So I think they're coming for water and also for a bit of a browse, eating leaves. Remember, fully grown elephant will drink a lot of water, up to 250 liters, something like that per day, and also they'll need a lot of food. In this herd, there is a small herd that you see there, and we know them. There's two females with one tusk each. You see them to the right, that one with a young calf wanting to drink, and then the next one back there looks like he really wants to drink. I don't know if he's gonna allow him. No, he's saying no. See that? He's putting the leg. Yeah, it's like, no, you're not allowed. Yeah, let's see once more. Yeah, he wants to drink. Am I gonna drink, mom? Let's see. No. Yeah, he's not allowed. He's too big. Yeah, go eat something else. You're not getting any milk from me, but he's begging. Look at that. Is he gonna get given? Yeah, let's see. Well, yes, finally, I think the persistence did pay off, but it wasn't for very long. Yeah, there is definitely some language being used there. I cannot speak elephant, but for sure you can tell that he was begging. She wasn't sure. Yeah, and that could be her youngster. They give birth at about 5 years, and females stick with their mothers for as long as they live. They might be lucky to be the future matriarchs, and that's how, the herd actually continues. Yeah, finally, I think he's been given a drink. Yeah, sorry, yeah. He has been given a drink. I don't think, there is any milk. He has decided not to continue drinking. Yeah, are you gonna try again? Yes. No. Yeah, definitely he did have something to drink, but it wasn't much. Well, in elephants, as you know, they're matriarchs, and it's a matriarchal society where the female is the leader. You say, how cute. Well, it is very, very beautiful, and this interaction are just amazing, to sit here and watch elephants in their real environment, see them, interacting with one another. It's just a gift. I hope, you're really appreciating this, because, they're right here close to me now, and looks like they will be going past us in just like a minute. There's so many, but you cannot hear even the slightest noise. I'll just go quiet, and so you can try and listen to them. Yeah, that's how quiet, they are, elephants. There's a good 20 here, but there is the least noise. They are able to do that because their souls are equipped with muscles that, absorb all the weight, hence reducing, or masking all the noise. They are heading towards water, so I think I'm gonna reposition so we can see them drink maybe. Yeah, they're right in front of me now. It's a nice big herd, good size that we see here. And they're all in a mission. They've taken over the road. I wish I'd driven past them earlier. Could have been easier to see them come towards me, but now I just have to make do with, no, I mean nothing, no harm. Yeah, he was being curious of why I was following them, but I wasn't very worried because the matriarch herself is not worried at all. Look at that, it's a beautiful sight. Gentle giants going on a morning walk towards water and grazing. Such a beautiful sight. I hope you're enjoying this. Remember, this is live. It's coming from the Masai Mara Triangle. Questions and comments are still very, very welcome. Yeah, as you enjoy that, look at that. Those are elephants on a mission. Algebra girl, what animal is closely related to the elephant? Well, elephants are in a class of their own. I think it's Chordata. And actually, I don't remember. Maybe I have to look at my notes. If you give me a minute or so, I will be able to tell you. But I have forgotten, actually. It's been a while since anybody asked me about that. That is in classifications of animals. Yeah, that's a beautiful sight there as I take a look on this classification. Well, maybe I'll have to remind me about that question so I can come back to you and tell you who are they related to. But it's a question that I need to look up. I'll leave you with that sight as I ponder on my question, and I'll come back to you on my next segment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Djuma, where we moved on from our lions and we found a dead scrub hare that has been clearly dead, that's for sure, but you can see the drag mark comes all the way from behind, and there's one track. There's no leopard track, there's a small cat-like track which is not very clear to see over here, but I got one just over there. It looks like either a wildcat or a genet. And when these animals, when it kills something, it will be walking with it in its mouth, so it'll be dragging behind. But for some reason, it has left it and abandoned it here. It's been here for a few moments, and there's already ants on the body, quite a few ants on the body, but around the neck over here, there's clearly some indication of a bite mark. Right there on the back, there's actually blood congealing down here off of the ear. So, because the ants have found it already, I'd assume that it's been here for, don't know how long. It is slightly warm, but that might just be from the sun. How crazy. Dead scrub hare. Do apologize, everybody. There's nothing gruesome about this. There's no obvious signs of struggle or of blood, but it has definitely been killed by a predator and for some reason been abandoned. Don't know why, and if it was a predator that abandoned it and then there was a competition, that other animal should have potentially tried to catch it or to eat what was left behind. Maybe it was a very unrelaxed wildcat and the sound of a car made it move off, but we are the first vehicle along this road this morning. Very, very interesting. A bird of prey wouldn't have done this. A bird of prey wouldn't have dragged it like this. It's definitely some form of predator dragging along the ground. What happened to you, buddy? Can you tell us? So the best way to indicate these things is to have a look at the tracks, and the tracks back there indicate a small pad, about 3.5 or so centimeters. The foot's about 3.5 centimeters. Genet Wildcat are very, very similar in that sort of nature, but why leave it behind? We don't know. The mysteries of the wilderness. This scrub hare can't have been here that long, because you'd expect a bird of prey such as a batelier or the like to have found it. Poor scrub hare, everybody, indeed. There are many of them around, and they do form a very important diet with our leopards and our cats and our birds of prey. This fella is out a little bit later than he should normally be. But he's dead, so we'll just say a little prayer for him, poor little fellow. But we will leave him right here where he is. I don't know, I'm not going to touch him, everybody, because he's dirty. But I don't know if you can see over here, there's a little bit of a laceration in the neck there, and there is a congealed bit by the ear. A congealed bit of blood over there, which is already all congealed and solid. And the ticks are still on the body. Does he reckon the cat is still watching? Well, here's a batelier, that thing. We're going to move back, and we're going to let the batelier come down on this one. It is possible that something's still watching, and maybe it heard us coming now, but the blood's already congealed, and the parasites haven't yet bolted off, which is what happens quite quickly after animal dies. The parasites just flee. They just flee very quickly. But the fact that the ants had found it already was quite an interesting thing, which made me feel as if it's been there for some time. But you can just do the drag mark to the scrub hare, and we're going to stay here. Oh, there we go. There's a wildcat. Oh my word, it was right there. I'm going to move back, allow this wildcat to come in. Gosh, that must have happened a moment before we got here then. I'm very impressed at how quickly those ants found it. Wow. He was hiding in the long grass. Okay, we're going to give him lots and lots of space. Maybe the secretive little cat will come back out and get it. You didn't get him on camera, did you? He was there watching us the whole time, so exactly what we thought. How camouflaged. Now, those animals can hide in the shortest of grass. Sorry, Mr. Cat, we didn't mean to influence your meal. We'll allow him to come back and get it. We're a good 60, 70 meters away. That should be enough space. Cats often will come back to a kill once space has been provided. Obviously, they abandon food for security of themselves. So if something is a threat to them, they'll rather move off and save their lives. And then if the threat is not realized, then they will move, obviously go back to the meal. But how wonderful. Little track and sign. Sorry about the radio. African wildcats, everybody. We don't see too many of them. They're expert hunters of little hares. Okay, well, we're going to hang around in the area, see if our elusive little cat comes back.
Kalahari black-maned lion. Look at that. A very dark black mane. Obviously my voice got my voice there, opening his eyes to me. Very, very beautiful there. Look at that. Very, very, very dark. Hence they are known to be the Kalahari maned lions. And I am aware that somebody of our colleagues in the properties, was talking about manes this morning, but also what would give these males such a dark mane. You can imagine the Kalahari sand being so soft, which makes these males actually exert a lot of energy when they do walk and when they do hunt and also patrolling territories around. So it actually makes their body produce more testosterone, and that would also be an adding factor to how dark the mane becomes. And obviously with the more testosterone they would produce, the more I don't want to say aggressive, it's a bit of a harsh word, but the more feisty they would be because of that amount of testosterone that they would have produced. A very good specimen of the black-maned Kalahari lion, just over his prime. And what shows also that he's over his prime, Dave, if I can ask you to zoom in as you are zooming in closer to his nose there, you would see his whole nose has gone pitch black. That's one of the easier ways to actually age these lions. You would see when a lion is born, they would be born with a very pink nose, and it will start becoming black from the exteriors or from the outside and closing in with the black. And once they are in their prime, the whole nose would almost be pink with just maybe a dot of a little bit pink in the middle. And just past their prime, the whole nose would be completely black, not even a sign of pink. But also the mane is one of the interesting factors that would also help you to age a male lion. You would see with the young boys that we saw earlier with the Pride, there would be about 2 years. The mane is just starting to develop just under the chest and between the legs and just on the sides of the head. And towards their prime, what will happen is they would actually develop a fringe just in front of the, or let me say between the eye and the ears. The fringe will start curling forward, and that fringe will be a proper curled fringe in their prime. And towards old age, when the nose is very pitch black and they pass in the prime, that fringe will start falling back, and they would actually be bald. Interesting enough. So they lose that hair. It starts falling back and cutting shorter and shorter. But then the mane itself on the side of the head would be much, much fuller and quite lengthy in size. So those are just some of the obvious reasons as to how to age a lion. So yeah, let's leave him sleeping as what he is, and we'll see what happens later.
Welcome to Ngala. Now, I know we're looking at an empty tree at the moment. However, there were 2 woolly-necked storks in there a moment ago, and they've just flown off. I think they were waiting for the sun to come out before they go and find a little marshy area. And yeah, unfortunately they've flown off, very likely to a small watering hole, start their day fishing. Looks like there might be a Birchall starling at the top of that tree there, just preening its feathers. Also keeping a good lookout from the top there. I'm terribly sorry that the woolly-necked storks flew away and I couldn't show you them. They was perched right at the top of the tree perfectly. They were also cleaning themselves and getting ready for the day ahead. They'll probably go and spend the rest of the day in and around a small watering hole or a little marshy area looking for frogs and crabs and all kinds of insects. And I even read up in the book that they sometimes scavenge on dog food. But unfortunately, they have flown off. Let's stick with this Birchall starling at the moment. I mean, they're also quite a social bird. I wonder where the rest of them are. And you'll see they make quite a lot of noise and a really good... Oh, even that one's gone now. So let's carry on driving. Let's try and see if we can maybe find something else down the way. Maybe we can catch up to those woolly-necked storks, but Didn't get your hopes too high. They could have gone anywhere. But there's always a chance. So I'm going to keep going down the road, see if we can't find those woolly neck stalks again. Or anything else. I'm going to send you to another live location, though.
So, well, the big herd of elephants left me, and I was very busy trying to think very fast on the question I was asked, who's the closest relative to the elephant. But the elephants actually don't have close relative to them. But it has been a very big mistake, and I knew that. That's why I knew they didn't have a relative, because the rock hyrax resembles, the elephant in many ways, and many people think that it's related to the elephant, but scientifically it is not. It's got similarities, but it is not related. The reason many people think it's related is that it's got two mammary glands situated in between the forelegs, just like an elephant. Internal testicles of a male, just like an elephant. It got prolonged carnassial teeth that resemble the tusk of an elephant. A very long gestation period for a very small animal of 7 months. And also in front, they have 5 toes, and at the back 4. A lot of similarities to an elephant, but not related. Yes, that's, what, I know about the rock hyrax, and they are two different animals. So they have similarities, but they are not related. So whoever, I don't remember her name, she asked me about the question. They don't have a resemblance. They have similarities, but they are not related. Very much so. They eat, leaves and also grass, and, they live in the bush. So they have a lot of similarities, but very different animals. So here, my elephants are heading out into the trees. It looks like that's where they're going to be spending, the whole day there. And as they move on towards the bush, I think I'm going to leave them to do that. And I'll leave you to enjoy that as I move on up to see what else I can find. They're all coming down towards the trees now, because I can see some over there. Everybody wants to come towards the trees. Maybe there is a tree that is flowering or fruiting, and they love the tree, and that's why everybody is coming towards the forest. It is also good because they'll leave the plains for everybody else. Well, I'm gonna move on. Let's take you to another live location.
It's always nice watching elephants as they walk, as they graze, because there's a beautiful behavior here in the Mara, where elephants each and every morning they cross over, go into the marshes and return back later to the escarpment. Now back to a lion. One of the lioness has already gotten a stomach full, and this one here is still eating. She's taking a rest as she's watching over her sister eating. And sometimes this is what lions do. They can guard the kill or watch over as the other lion, or maybe the pride members, carry on eating. She'll take a rest or maybe go and drink, and then later on come and eat. This is very, very nice, because you find that when there's two in a pride, or maybe more than two, they always do it perfectly. You see how they coordinate on a hunt, how they'll also guard when the rest are eating, and you wonder what communication comes in when they do that. Slicing through the skin, you can see her face is covered with blood. Thank you so much for your question. There are vultures around here, but not that they've already come to this sighting, because it's not yet warm enough. It's totally overcast this morning, and mostly what happens, vultures will use the thermals. They pick up the thermals to soar up in the air so that they can locate food. So it seems like it's still chill, it's still not warm enough for them to be flying over around. And I'm sure as temperatures rise later on, they will definitely be seen flying, and they can locate this prey or this carcass. It's time to clean. So that is a typical behavior lions will always do. After a meal, they start cleaning themselves. And if they do, they'll do what we call grooming, and they'll see them cleaning themselves. So if she happens to go right next to her sister, you'll see the sister cleaning her face. Look at her size, look at just how she's slicing through that flesh. The sitting lionesses can take up to about 22 kilograms, even sometimes up to 30. But the big males will eat much more than these lionesses. So I'm still going to sit here and watch this lioness as she enjoys her breakfast. I'm going to take you over to another live location.
Thanks, Tim. Well, we're sitting patiently, everybody, about 80 meters or so to the western, where are we? South. Off there's a scrub hare kill in the road. I haven't seen any sign of the wildcat. We're hoping it's building up its courage and slowly making its way back. I think if it does come back, it'll be a pretty quick affair. It'll grab it and disappear back into the vegetation. Or it might wait a little bit longer, you never know. This is live. Anything could happen. We've seen a few wildcat around, but, not like leopard that you can habituate them very easily. They're normally quite shy and very easily overlooked. They're obviously a lot smaller. They look just like a domestic cat, and there's probably a lot more of them around than you think. But like this one, we came along the road, and from a distance, we just saw this white thing in the road. We thought someone had dropped something, and at which stage the cat had already abandoned that meal and gone into the bush. So how many times we come along the road, the cat has disappeared? Many, many times. The only reason we found it is because it left its meal in the road, and it was sitting there watching. And I got in the car to reverse back, and the starting of my engine, I think, gave it a bit of a fright, and it moved off a bit further into the bush. So we probably drive past them all the time. Tristan's had a few quite relaxed ones. I've had a couple relaxed ones as well. But it might be that they're just so camouflaged that they feel like they're invisible. But we don't spend as much time with them as we do the bigger cats. And so they are under huge threat from domestic cats and inbreeding from the outside. Obviously, they're very similarly related to domestic cats, although they are their own species, their own genetics, and their genetics are being lost due to breeding with domestic cats. So we are losing many of the genetic variation found out here in the wilderness. But we're hoping in the next 60 seconds, we're going to get a flash of tawny dark coloration as it pulls out into the open there, grabs its kill, runs back into the bush. What a way to end this morning, starting with the biggest of them all and then finding the smallest of the cats. Wonderful morning. Well, we do thank you all for joining us on this sunrise safari from all of our wonderful locations. We look forward to you joining us again this afternoon. Same time, same place, coming to you from across the African continent. All of the presenters, cameramen, final control, do thank you for your input and comments. We'll see you later. Have a wonderful day until then. We'll chat to you then. Goodbye.
Hi, my name is Taylor McCurdy and I'm coming to you from eco training here on Pridelands. My most favorite animal in Africa has to be the elephant that's behind me, and this is Kumo, you'll meet him. But elephants just in general, they're really sociable, they're always doing something, and I love to see the interactions between the members of the herd. To learn more about these elephants, join me on channel 183 on DSTV.